Hi, and welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic. My name is Adam Ryan Daniels, and today I'm talking about a game that I've been playing for nearly 2 years. And now, with the popularity of all these comic book movies and people are starting to get into comic books and maybe weren't into them before, more attention is coming to this game, but people feel like they're 2 years too late. So I thought this would be a good time to give my thoughts on the game and maybe give some tips for people that want to join but feel a little overwhelmed. So today we're talking about Marvel's Avengers Alliance. Avengers Alliance is basically a turn-based action game where you control 3 characters at a time that face off against either arch enemies, kind of big bosses, or small troops, kind of similar-based squads. And you have to use strategy and different movesets to defeat them. At this point, there's about 100 heroes in the game, so a lot of people to choose from, but you have to earn them. So you start the game with a very small number, and you end with a very large number. To give you context, I'm currently at the level cap of 300. I've been playing for about 2 years. I started playing before the very first Spec Ops was released for the game. And I'm horrible at the PvP, so player versus player option. I'm horrible at that, and I'll be very transparent about that. And I'll give you reasons why I'm horrible and why I usually don't recommend that anyone play it. Marvel's Avengers Alliance is available on a couple different playing mediums. I play on Facebook because you can easily tie to your friends that you know. You can add other people fairly easily, and it seems to give you better rewards on a day-to-day basis. It also was the first version out there, and once you start on Facebook, you can't transfer your information to the other, usually mobile options. And so once you put in 2 years, like I did, you're not going to lose that to play on iOS or Android. So it is available on Apple products, iOS, and it's also available on Android. But I usually recommend Facebook, and I'll tell you later for new players why I do that. So like I mentioned, you get 3 characters to play at a time. One of them is always your created agent. So you're a shield agent, you're a normal human, decked out with whatever equipment you've purchased or earned. So you'll see throughout the game that you get better clothing to wear, you get better weapons, and you can customize your agent to suit whatever superheroes you're also controlling. So the equipment that you give your agent usually helps define what your role is. So if you're using 2 other superheroes that are heavy hitters, you can suit your agent to maybe be a healer or to do supplemental damage, whatever, cause status effects. So there is a lot of strategy involved, and with 100 different heroes that you can put in your squad, the combinations are endless. And almost every agent is very, very different. Now in the game, as you play through the campaign or whatever, there's different currencies that you earn. It's a little confusing at the beginning because it's not very easily explained. Probably the most essential currency is what we call command points. Command points are what you use to purchase other heroes. So when you start the game, you might see heroes that cost 10, 15 command points, fairly low, but then you'll also see heroes that cost 200 command points. This number isn't always equal to how good the character is. Some might cost 200 because they were the prize for some sort of short-term competition, and since you didn't win, you have to pay a high amount to then get that hero. So if you're a new player, don't assume that high numbers equals good value. I would just buy heroes that you're interested in. Another currency are shield points, which you need to upgrade these heroes. So you might start with Iron Man, and you say, I want my Iron Man to be better, I want my Iron Man to have more moves, so use these shield points to upgrade them to a certain point. And at these certain milestones, they gain new moves that you can use, so they become more and more useful in combat. Another currency is gold. Gold is usually what you get when you pay real money. You also get gold every time you level up your agent. Gold, either you can buy limited edition items, so things that aren't going to last very long, things that are usually very, very overpowered. Or you can use gold to trade in for other currencies. So I say I need command points to buy this hero, so I'm going to trade gold, and for every gold I get 2 command points. You also have currency that is straight up money. You'll use this to purchase a lot of different things, sometimes in combination. You might need 100 shield points and 1,000 coins. So you get this money all the time, but it goes pretty quickly. So now what do you do in the game? There's 3 basic modes that you're going to be playing in, and I'm going to walk you through what they are so that you, maybe as a new player, maybe as someone that's never, you haven't played this game, you want to see what it's like. The main mode is called the campaign, right? So there's chapters. So when you start the game, you're playing chapter 1. And you'll play through, there's dialogue boxes, there's a story that you'll see unfold. And usually at the end of each of these missions, there's a boss that you'll defeat, and then you'll close out the chapter. You can then replay these chapters, and as you complete it more and more times, you get more and more rewards. For example, if you get 5 stars in these chapters, early on you start getting command points, and you get gold, which you can use. So the campaign, these chapters, this is what I encourage most new players to start out with. Just work on the chapters, play them over and over again, build up these heroes that you have. The more times you defeat bosses, the more times you get chapter masteries and rewards, you start getting more and more command points, so it gets easier to buy the heroes that you want to play with. These are updated regularly, so every once in a while you'll see new chapters come out. So it gives you something fresh to do, and within these chapters there's usually milestones and goals that it tells you to do, so it gives you a direction. It says, now I want you to defeat this many of this type of enemy. So it gives you a goal. And as you accomplish these goals, you get rewards, which usually pay off in command points, shield points, special items, and sometimes alternate costumes for the characters that you already have. Now the next mode is called PvP, player versus player. Basically, your squad of your agent and 2 heroes, you choose to play them against someone else's squad of their agent and 2 heroes. Now, you would think in a player versus player scenario, it would be a live match. So it's actually a player making the decisions. But it's not. Here, it's your team playing against AI, the artificial intelligence, that's controlling someone else's team. So I might have a really good setup, but when someone plays against my squad, the computer is deciding what to do, and their strategy isn't always sound. So I might have a good team offensively that when I'm controlling them, I'm doing awesome. But I log off, I go to bed, I log in the morning, and I've been defeated 8,000 times. So the PvP is very flawed. That every time you make progress, you log in the next time, you've dropped all the way down in the rankings, basically. And again, I'm level 300. I own every single character that's come out thus far, and I can never get beyond the first ranking. I'm still, with everyone else that basically has logged in and played 1 PvP match, is ranked the same as me. It's just unfair. The people that tend to dominate PvP are what we call wallet warriors, meaning that they buy very overpowered equipment, and this is equipment that you'll see regularly as you play PvP, that every agent has a certain set of things that is near impossible to stop, unless your agent is created to stop them, which usually requires other bot equipment. I usually don't recommend that anyone play PvP. Sometimes there are rewards for if you play a certain amount of matches or you play a certain amount of times per day, so I will usually do that with the intention of getting those short-term rewards, but I'm not playing PvP to rank highly. Usually if you rank in the top tier, there is a special hero that you get. So for example, here's the tournament. If you win the tournament, you're in the top tier, you get Deadpool, and that's awesome. But now, they release those heroes like a month later. So I can put in all that work. I log in every day and I play hours in PvP. And I buy super awesome equipment. And I win Deadpool. But then in a month, everyone can buy Deadpool. So it's usually not worth it. The last mode is something called Spec Ops. So these are short-term chapters that show up, usually around a certain villain, something special that's happening. Sometimes they're tied in with what's happening in the comic books. So when you log in, you'll see, all right, it's Spec Ops, it's based on Guardians of the Galaxy. If you complete the Spec Ops, you get Star-Lord. For example, that's what's happening right now. So these are basically chapters that only last for a certain amount of time, and when you complete them, you get a hero. These are awesome. Usually much, much easier because it's based on your skill alone. Other players aren't hindering your ability to get this hero. Now the Spec Ops are tricky because they introduce another type of currency called ISO 8. Basically for every Spec Ops they change the color and they say, now to play a mission, to play a fight, a battle, it takes 10 ISO 8. Now this is tricky because if you don't have any other Facebook friends or iOS friends, whatever, that play, you have no way to get this currency. Well, you have very little ways to get this currency. So when we talk about tips for new players, I'll try to give you some tips on how to get ISO 8. It's usually worth it, but it is a little tricky. Before I tell new players how to succeed at this game, you might want to know, is it even a good game? And I would say yes, because I've been playing it for 2 years. I've maxed out, I own every single character, and I still log in every day. Again, I'm a huge nerd. So, is it a good game? I've played a lot of Marvel games. I've played action games, I've played RPGs, I've played mobile games, I've played puzzle games, and this is one of the most fun that I've ever played. Now there are some obstacles, especially for new players, but once you overcome them and you figure out the loopholes to play the game, it's amazing. There's 100 characters that you can choose from, and you get to know a lot that normally don't get a lot of love. When I earned the character Thundra, I didn't know who that was. But now I'm using her often in battle, and I'm learning what she does, and I'm reading her bio, and now I'm more educated about the Marvel Universe because of this Facebook game. And every hero plays pretty differently, which is really cool. They all have at least 4 different moves, different status effects, they all have different passive things that make them feel different in battles. There's a lot of strategy. Now, even when you're playing the campaign or Spec Ops, you still need a lot of strategy because some of these villains are really difficult to beat, and you have to pay attention to what their weaknesses and what their strengths are. So with 100 heroes, you have to choose wisely which 2 are you going to bring with your agent to battle. It's also a really good game for, one, if you have tons of time. You can sink a lot of time at once into this game, especially once you start getting, you build up extra energy so that you can play more and more often. Or it's the type of game that you can log in and play a couple battles a day and be done. It also looks pretty cool. All the heroes look nice, they have alternate costumes that give them different powers. It's a fun game to play and to watch. I'm trying to include as much gameplay here in this video so that you can see what it's like. That should help you determine if this is a game you even want to play. Let's say you've just watched this video, you think the game does look cool and you want to give it a shot. Here's some tips for new players in Marvel's Avengers Alliance. Firstly, where should you play? Should I play on Facebook when I'm only at my computer? Or should I play on my iPhone? Or should I play on my Android? I would say Facebook. It's easier to find friends. You can start adding people that maybe you don't know in real life, but you want the perks of more friends in the game. It tends to look a little nicer. The interface is much easier to use. And the Facebook game has been around longest, so all the heroes are available. The current version, the most recent game that you can play is on Facebook. If you play on iOS, they're about a year behind. So they're now doing Spec Ops that those on Facebook played a long time ago. So it's frustrating, or it could be frustrating, if you hear about this cool Guardians of the Galaxy themed Spec Ops where you could win Star-Lord, but on iOS, look for it in about a year. Same thing on Android, but even way further behind. Now, the advantage to that is that you don't start so far behind. If you start on Facebook, you have 1 hero, and there's 99 you don't have. Where if you start on Android, maybe there's 20 heroes, there's 30 heroes that you don't have. So you're not that far behind, but you are going to hear news and you are going to see things about the game that you won't get to experience for a long time. I would say it's better to have all those options and to see what the game has in store for you than be way behind the times and not get to experience the full version of the game. So I would say Facebook is the superior version. Now, also as a new player, you might be tempted to try the PvP. I would say it's usually not worth it. You can take a stab at it, but the first time you log in the morning and you've dropped an entire ranking, you're going to realize that it's flawed. So I would encourage you, at least until there's maybe a reason to play PvP, I would encourage you not to. Eventually there might be something where if you play 5 matches, you get a reward. Sometimes Spec Ops might say, hey, play 3 PvP matches. There might be things that force you to play, but competitively, it's going to be very difficult for a new player to be able to be competitive. Now, should you do Spec Ops, if you start playing the game now and you log in and it tells you that there's a Guardians of the Galaxy Spec Ops available, you're going to be tempted to say, yes, I'm going to jump right in. Now, here's the tricky thing. There are missions that require specific heroes. So if you get to the last mission in the Guardians of the Galaxy Spec Ops, and it says, to play this mission, Groot is required. And if you don't have the command points to buy Groot, you cannot finish the Spec Ops. So you spent a month completing 24 of the 25 requirements, and now you can't beat it. And usually there's about 3 or 4 heroes that are required to complete a Spec Ops. So for a new player, the chances of you having those 3 heroes out of the 100, it's a slim chance. Now, say you're the biggest Star-Lord fan in history, you can choose to pay real money to get the gold, to buy the command points, to buy Groot. So there might be a hero that is worth it for you. Because Spec Op heroes don't show up till very much later for general recruitment. So if you want Star-Lord, that's your chance. So sometimes it's worth it to pay $20 and get Groot, and then you get Star-Lord. So really you're getting 2 heroes for that $20, or whatever it would cost you. Now some of you are going to say, I don't want to spend any real money. But if I've been playing a game for 6 months, for free, paying some money, paying $20, is nothing. Because I'm paying $60 for a video game that takes me a weekend to beat. Or you're paying a monthly subscription fee to play a MMO. You know, like, for the amount of time that you can put into this game, I didn't feel bad every once in a while spending real money. Because the developers are constantly updating this game with new characters, new modes, new chapters. There's always stuff coming out. And we want to affirm that, hey, we're still playing. You know, we need to pay their paychecks. So I was okay paying every once in a while when there was a Spec Op hero that I really wanted. But unless you're willing to pay real money, I would take some time before I start doing the Spec Ops. And you can always look up on, different wiki guides as to what heroes are required. So before you even start a Spec Ops, you know if you can complete it or not. Now another tip, when you start playing, you're going to complete all the chapters, but play them again. Go back and get 5 stars on those chapters. Because now you're getting more gold, you're getting command points, instead of hitting this wall where now the game is really difficult, or like you can't beat this boss because you're at level 5 but they're at level 10. So spend some time mastering, getting that currency, buying heroes that you want to play with, buying upgrades for your pre-existing heroes, training them. Spend time replaying that early stuff, and then it'll become much easier when you continue on to the next chapter. So don't be in a hurry just to finish the story. Play through until you've mastered everything to get maximum currency. Now I mentioned that there's some currencies and some items that you need people to give you. That if I want ISO 8 to play Spec Ops, there's a few ways to get it without friends, but the easiest way is to gift. To say, I'll give you one and now you return the favor. And so there's a limit. I don't remember what the limit is. I just hit click, 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 click. But there's a limit to how many you can do per day. But if you know you're getting 40, whatever, gifts a day, that's 40 ISO 8 that you can use every day, plus whatever you're earning on your own. But this requires that you have people that play the game. So either you can show this video to someone else that might be interested, a couple other Marvel nerds that might think this is awesome, and you say, let's all play. Or there's tons of threads and forums where people are dying for friends to play this game because they want these gifts. Consider adding people you don't know on Facebook. Now I've created a special privacy setting for these people that they don't get to see all my super secret personal life things, but I can send them gifts on Marvel Avengers Alliance. There's no harm in that. And if I ever stop playing the game, which eventually I will, but when I stop, I can just unfriend those people. I already have them in a category, I just boot them all. But in the game, it's very helpful to have real people that play the game as well. And once you have these friends, if you click on their profile in the game, every day you can get 5 things from them. So it's different items, it's some of this currency, or you can get a distress call, which basically when I use it, it summons one of my friend's heroes to help me out. And once your friends get higher levels, if one of my friends used my distress call, one of my level 300 characters would come in and save the day. And if you're a level 8, it's going to dominate that character. So you want these items, and you want those distress calls. So it's important every day to go get those items, especially if you have a lot of friends. Dedicate 10 minutes, go through all their pages, get all the items. It's also important to log in every day because there are daily gifts that you get. You log in, there's a little roulette thing, it happens, you get something. It could be 20 command points. It could be gold. It could be a limited edition weapon. It could be something really cool. And every day, once you hit 5 days, every day you get at least 1 command point. So it's like, bam, here's a little bonus, here's a little bonus. If you miss a day, it sets back at 1, and you have to earn that up again. But it's important every day, if you're a new player, just to log in, get all that stuff, even if you don't intend on playing, just get all the rewards, log off. It's an easy way to get a lot of items, so when you do sit down and you do have time to play, you have all that stuff. The biggest tip, though, for just enjoying the game is to buy heroes that you want. Don't worry about who's going to be able to compete. Don't worry about how strong they are. Buy characters that are interesting. If you love X-Force and you really want to reenact some of these battles with the Black Ops team of X-Force, focus on that. Buy Phantom X. Buy Psylocke. Buy Angel. Or buy Angel and then buy his special X-Force outfit. But there's things you can do. So buy the characters that you want. Eventually you might have enough command points that you just start buying every character you can, which eventually you'll have enough for. But at the beginning, focus on who you want to play with. If you're the biggest Doctor Strange fan in the world, buy Doctor Strange. The game is about you being able to control these heroes that you love and leveling them up and making them stronger. So do that. Don't focus on being competitive. Don't focus on PvP. Focus on the story, which is actually really well written, and focus on characters that you want to play with. That's the biggest tip I can give you. So hopefully you choose to check it out. I know for a lot of you that follow my channel, read my blog, you don't care about this. For those of you that are watching this and don't know anything about my channel, feel free to like, subscribe, whatever. I do a lot of really nerdy videos about movies, comic books, whatever. And then I do written reviews over at imyourtargetdemographic.com about movies, video games, all sorts of stuff that you'll probably find interesting. So feel free to go over there, subscribe to my blog, favorite, bookmark, whatever your browser allows you to do. So thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments below if you play Avengers Alliance, and maybe you disagree with me, maybe you do agree with me, maybe you're looking for more friends to add you. Feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching.